Looking for a gaming smartphone on a budget? This might be the unicorn that Poco have just dropped, but is it really delivering the promised great performance at this very low price? Let's inspect. I know, it sounds crazy, being able to buy a gaming smartphone for less than $200 in 2022? Well, looks like Poco are delivering. This is the M5, the brand new device from their side, and I might be a little confused here because a few weeks ago they have released the Poco F4 GT, which is totally oriented towards gamers, and this here doesn't really look like a gaming phone, no shoulder triggers or whatsoever, but Poco seem to be quite certain that it has all that it takes in order to deliver truly good performance, which is also good enough for gamers. And of course, our task here is through thorough inspection to find out all the pros and the cons and just make a statement whether that really is indeed a good solution for all of you that want to buy a gaming phone on a budget. So, with the starting price of less than $200, this might be the deal of the year if it meets all the expectations. Truth is that among all the upgrades, Poco are at the same time downgrading some components compared to last year's model, so there's a lot to say about the unit. In terms of unboxing and setup, it is no different to most phones that you can buy and are made from Xiaomi. Poco is one of their sub-brands, so when you see the box and the content inside, there's no surprise that it has a lot in common with the Mi and Redmi lines. The M5 unfortunately doesn't arrive with pre-applied screen protector. Besides the guides and the informational leaflets in the box, there also is a charger, 22.5 watt charger, which is about right, and it's nice to see it's coming for free. The phone itself keeps the 2021 and 2022 trends about Poco's back design. As usual, it is available in different color options. All plastic body with, at the first sight, solid design. Not sure how it's gonna handle drop testing, but for what it's worth, Poco rarely disappoint with corners cut about structural integrity, even with the budget-oriented models. Seeing a 3.5mm jack is always nice, already feels kind of old school though. As for the quick tour over the most important specifications, we can notice the presence of Helio G99, containing an octa-core CPU and manufactured by TSMC, 6.58-inch display with Full HD Plus resolution, 4 or 6 GB RAM, 64 or 128 GB storage with expandability up to 1 TB, triple camera setup on the back, led by the 50-megapixel main unit, a lot of connectivity options including dual-band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.3, NFC, a side fingerprint sensor and the traditional infrared blaster. Also, the phone happens to be pretty lightweight. So, the specs might sound really interesting to you, my dear tech geeks, and for everyone who is not that much into the smartphone world, let me try to rephrase everything into simpler words. The system on a chip. It's manufactured by TSMC 6nm process, and looks like Poco wants you to know about this because now more people are associating TSMC with the better Snapdragons and the Bionic chips by iPhone. I need to underline the performance of the Poco M5 is not as good as the performance of a current iPhone. Not at all. There's a slight downgrade compared to last year's model, and that's the absence of 5G connectivity. So if you're looking to get the latest and greatest from 5G connectivity, this Poco is not the right one for you. But we have to be fair that in terms of pure user experience, you wouldn't feel any difference between 4G and 5G if you download files on this particular hardware. As compared to last year's model, which was utilizing the Dimensity 700, CPU performance is a bit faster. We probably get better AI and hopefully slightly better camera performance, so looks like there are some more areas which are left to be tested. Since performance is the headline, this is what we're going to test first. Actually, the G99 inside this phone, at a budget of around $200, just shines. I can't think of another 2022 made smartphone with that good performance at the price asked. It cannot put most mid-rangers under pressure, but it's very solid because of a few reasons. It is power efficient, meaning that the screen on time will not be easily impacted by too high consumption. and it's rather cool, doesn't easily go into throttling conditions under heavy and continuous load, which is an area that some flagships fail at this year. In fact, usually just after 8 minutes, my daily driver running Snapdragon 8 Generation 1 is reducing its performance almost twice in order to cool down, which kind of gives the edge to the G99 inside the Poco M5 because it keeps it cool and performance is barely being affected. Apps open very quickly. The interface doesn't feel jittery, RAM management is good, installation of new apps happens really quickly, scrolling and gaming on this not too bad display feels alright. We count on a 90Hz display, which is just LCD, but its peak brightness of 500 nits is actually a good achievement and not too far from twice more expensive devices like Nothing Phone 1. It is in fact one of the good non-AMOLED panels that you can find on the market these days, and although lacking the gaming 120Hz specification, 90Hz is acceptable at this price point. The camera testing comes next. 15 megapixels sound about right, but this ain't be one of these really big and appealing image sensors. While I got no confirmation from Poco which is the exact image sensor inside, it is likely something that has been already used with some other mid-rangers from the past couple of years, so that Poco can achieve good quality at a lower price. In daytime and overall bright light conditions, capturing good photos is relatively easy, and almost every shot that you take is gonna look quite appealing. Nice colors, good exposure, good levels of saturation, contrast, sharpness and so on. A bit of a lack of dynamic range, but partially this gets compensated by the advanced features of the MIUI camera app. Video recording is not really a great strength due to the lack of optical image stabilization. It is yet another phone incapable of recording videos in 4K resolution, which is unfortunately a trend lately. Looks like most smartphone makers are trying to leave this feature for their more expensive devices only. But Poco positioned the M5 as a gaming phone, so we can forgive it. At night, some more challenges about the camera. You can count on the night mode, which can produce some awesome results. I've tried the Google Camera app too, but at this point of time the stock camera seems to work in a better way. Poco have included in the setup 2 other cameras. One of them is in my opinion completely unnecessary and useless. A 2 megapixel macro camera is okay, sometimes can be fine, but you may achieve similar if not better close-ups using the main camera and applying a digital zoom. Just look at these photos side by side, I guess. These prove my words. The third camera is sadly not ultra-wide. It is yet another 2 megapixel depth sensor. It contributes the most when it comes to taking portraits. The features inside the camera app are not as many as with some other Poco or Xiaomi made models, but about right to produce quality enough photos and videos. Having spent some time with the camera and the daily use, including games, I have some good news about the battery life. 5000 mAh are quite alright if you're targeting a day or 2 of normal use. If you apply some tweaks and freeze some apps, 3 days are doable. With gaming abuse and the screen at peak brightness most of the time, it's going to of course be much shorter lifespan. There is fast charging involved, unfortunately not that fast because the 18 watts technology used is gonna make you wait more than an hour and a half to fully recharge. Since achieving a great value has been the priority, no wireless charging involved, the rest of the functions are also alright-ish. I'll take the chance to demonstrate most of the software features. Xiaomi-made devices rely on their custom skin called MIUI, which adds some extra features on top of the regular Android look and feel. The distributions are certified and approved by Google. There is the full Google Services integration. In that regard, the phone is expected to receive regular software and security patch updates, and while MIUI has faced some serious challenges throughout 2021, looks like this year things are slowly getting back on track. There's a nicely working remote control integration backed by the infrared blaster. We mentioned the 3.5mm jack, so if you have favorite wired headphones, there's an easy way to use them with this phone. Data transfer speeds seem to be alright too, with the Wi-Fi achieving the maximum that my current internet service provider can allow. And, of course, the possibility to use any of the many included themes, fonts, wallpapers and ringtones. I think the performance of MIUI on this particular model is quite snappy, and my hope is that Poco won't mess anything up and it will remain as responsive as it is now in the long run. If you're curious about the weaknesses that I found, let's start with the substantial amount of bloatware. These are some unneeded apps that come embedded in the software. It's part of the price that we pay for buying a relatively cheap smartphone with arguably better than the expected specification pack. You're going to see ads almost every time after an app gets updated or installed, and those that arrive as part of MIUI luckily can be uninstalled. This is nothing new for Poco, and generally Xiaomi keep only their Prime line being entirely ad-free. There is also no Wi-Fi 6 support, just a mono speaker, no 5G support, no wireless charging, no ultra-wide camera, some remarks about the selfie camera, and the phone is not officially waterproof. Looks like indeed the main priority that Poco had with the M5 model was to bring the best possible value out of it, and with a starting price of close to €190 or dollars, mission well accomplished. But if we dig deeper, and if we compare specifications and pure performance, we have to admit that everything that we have here inside in the Poco M5, with exception for the processor, which is now significantly faster, was almost the same as the 2-year-old Poco M3. And I don't really feel very comfortable knowing all that. And now it's your turn to tell me, do you like the Poco M5? Do you think it's an upgrade, especially compared to last year's M4 line? And do you think there's a better value gaming smartphone for less than $200? Would be great if you can add your comment down below. As usual, more information about the product itself, ways to support the channel, and just more general information about me and what you see on Tech4All is to be found in the video description area. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was entertaining, and I really look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye!